Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another Wargaming in Miniature video. In this video, I want to make an announcement. Okay, so we are in the finishing steps of the Princeton project. It's almost completely done. And this is an announcement video where I'm going to start a new project. I'm going to call it the 100 Years War Project. I was going to call it Agincourt, after one of the battles, Henry V, in the 100 Years War. But I'm going to make an English and a French army for use in medieval battles in the time period of the 100 Years War. So I'm going to build it up so that it could be used at any battle, pretty much. I haven't really put my finger down on a specific battle. I think I'm just going to kind of generically build until I make a decision on which battle I want to do. And I should be able to do a lot of different battles. I was trying to decide which rule set I was going to use for the project. I really like Warlord Games' rules. I think they're streamlined and they're smooth. They're easy to understand. They're complicated enough, but they're playable in an evening, so you don't need multiple nights or many hours to play. I wanted to do it in Hail Caesar, right? I wanted to do it in Hail Caesar, but I looked around and they haven't done a late medieval army list or 100 Years War army list for Hail Caesar. They've only done biblical, Dark Ages, Roman period, chariot era. I don't even think they've done the chariot era, really. Basically all the early stuff, the antiquity, and haven't really got all the way up into the Middle Ages yet with any army lists or campaign books. So I was kind of scared about doing Hail Caesar. I looked at pike and shot, because pike and shot starts at 1600 and goes forward, and I think that's too late. This goes all the way up to 1600, from like biblical time up to 1600. So I looked in the Hail Caesar rules, and there are stat lines for knights, for men-at-arms, for everybody that's medieval, right? And they even got Crusaders and Damascus, which is pretty close, but there's enough stat lines in here to do any troop type. So all I got to do is find out what type of troops they are, and then I can make my own army list, or I can extrapolate and make my own army list. Okay, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to do rank and file miniature bases. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do like a base with 4 guys on it, and then a base with 4 guys on it, and a base with 4 guys on it, right? Because all the other medieval games that I've played in the past have had 4 guys in a row on a single long base, and then you would put 2 of those behind each other. And if I wanted to have deeper ranks, I could do that, or if I wanted to put them side by side, I could do that. But looking back on those rules, namely Field of Glory was one of the rule set that I had played. The units never fought single file like that. They always fought at least 2 ranks deep. So that's basically how you base them for Hail Caesar. And my Romans and my Macedonians, my barbarians, they're already based like that. So, and then if I ever wanted to, like if I do make these English and French armies, if I ever want to do like a Henry V versus Julius Caesar kind of battle, we could do that. But I don't really do army lists by points usually. I do it by scenario or style of play. So it would be an unbalanced game unless they do come out with some army lists with point values. Until then, won't be able to do any cross-genre stuff. But I do have like the Hail Caesar the Age of Caesar campaign book, and that's why I built those armies the way they are. Okay, enough of that. So I've decided I am going to base them for Hail Caesar. I was even thinking, this is another thing, I was even thinking of basing them individually on round bases and playing it like a skirmish game. So we could play not Hail Caesar, but like 100 Years' War with a handful of knights going up against a handful of knights, like the Battle of 30. But I don't think any of the battles in the 100 Years' War were skirmishes. I think all those battles were pretty gigantic. Like even Agincourt, which wasn't that big of a battle, honestly. Agincourt, just archers, had like 5,000 archers. I'm not going to play that as a skirmish. Now I could take a chunk of the battle and say this little far left corner, there were some knights running around, and there were some archers running around, but that doesn't give you the feel of the Battle of Agincourt. So I'm going to have to use rank and file, and the guys, the miniatures, I say guys, but the miniatures are going to have to represent more than one guy. They're going to have to represent more than 10. Like in my Princeton project, each figure represented 10 guys because the units were small. The units were like under 200, and so I could make a unit of 16 figures represent 200. But when a unit represents 4,500 guys, or let's say even if it was 1,000 guys, and there was just 4 of them, that's still not going to be one figure is one man. I was thinking, and I'm going to have to do the math on this, but I was thinking I was going to go with like a Napoleon's battles ratio, which is 120 men is one figure. And 120 men as a figure would only mean I would need 10 figures to represent 1,000 men, right? It would actually be 1,200 men. I don't know. That means 4 figure base would be like 480 guys. So maybe I'll do something smaller than that. Maybe I'll do a 60, or an 80 or something. We'll figure it out. But I want to do a massive battle scale. When I come to the scale of the battles, I'll be able to say, okay, there was this many guys, and at this scale, this is how many figures I need. But that's if I had decided on which battle I'm going to do. I haven't decided on the battles I'm going to do. So until I decide what battles I'm going to do, until then, my project is going to be just build units. I'm just going to, initially, the first month or so, I'm just going to build some units. And then once I start doing a little bit more research, start looking up some of these battles and trying to figure out, which Cressy or whatever might be a good one, or the second Agincourt might be a good one, or, it's much later with the Black Prince, I think. In different battles, different size units, stuff like that. So I'm going to have to try to figure that out. Okay, got all that out. Okay, so I am going to do it. It's going to be Hail Caesar. It's going to be 28 millimeter, and it's going to be, guess what? 16 figures per unit. So my archers are going to be 16 figures. They'll have like 4 bases, 2 ranks of archers, and then same with the crossbowmen, and then my knights will be single file on horseback, and then my foot knights will be 2 ranks of foot knights, So it's going to look just like all my other all my other Hail Caesar armies, and even my American War of Independence armies. It's going to be 2 ranks, 2 guys wide, per 40 millimeter base, and then, but then there's going to be different types of units. There's going to be men-at-arms, there's going to be archers, there's going to be crossbowmen, there's going to be mounted knights, there's going to be foot knights, there's going to be retainers, there's going to be mercenaries, there's going to be 2 armies, so there's going to be English and French. And so, if I was to guess, it's going to take about, just just the English army being around 10,000 men, that's going to be about 100 figures, right? 10,000? No. 1,000 figures? No. I can't do math. Okay, with an army being, so with a battle being, hypothetically, 10,000 men, I will only need maybe 100 or 200 figures per side. And to me, that's very doable. 200 miniatures as an army that's doable. My American War of Independence, just as an example, let's go ahead and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, approximately 20 units of 16. That's 200. Well, more than that. And then the British. So basically, 200 men right there would be like the English army or the French army, which I think is too many for a medieval battle. I'd have to rethink this. But still, even if it's only like 150 figures or something, whatever my scale winds up being, I should be able to use one whole shelf to represent the English and the French army. And the British, again, they're about another 80 models. So that was almost, or maybe over 100. How many we've got? 12 times 16, that's 100. Yeah, so that I've done already about 300 models for AWI. So I don't see an army of 150 guys being too crazy. So that's kind of the direction I'm going to head towards. So that's going to be about 10 units of 16 per side, right? 10 units of 16 per side. It might be a little different based on the scenario, but we haven't figured all that out yet. Okay, so I'm going to use the Storm of Arrows book. This was a game by Osprey Publishing for Field of Glory for their Ancients game. I played that in 15 millimeters, and this community that was playing this game, Field of Glory, is what turned me off of this game. There was a large community that played this game. I even went to some conventions, and it seemed like every time that somebody played this game, it was a tournament. It was always me against you, point values, cutthroat, cheating out the wazoo, and it just seemed, maybe not cheating, but just like taking advantage of each other, and there was no sportsmanship. It wasn't fun. It was just nothing but winning was the only thing that mattered. And I don't want a game like that. I don't want to play games where winning is the only thing. I want it to be, don't get me wrong, I like to win. You like to win. We both want to win, but I don't game to win.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
I play to win the game. No, that's something else. I play to have fun. Fun is my primary goal. I love painting models. I love organizing the scenarios and the troops, and I love doing the research and finding the colors and experimenting with different techniques and stuff like that. That's where the hobby is. And then playing the game is secondary. But I want a game that you can play and have fun. And I feel like Hail Caesar is that game. So we're going to play some Hail Caesar, but one good thing that Field of Glory did do, and that's why I bring this book up, they sure know how to make an army list, because the army lists are based on points and number of troops, and it's super competitive amongst the different armies, so that I could bring a French army to a table. You could bring a German army to the table, and we would have a fair fight. So they know how to make army lists. So what I'm going to do is use this as a reference, like even the Burgundians. I might even build a Burgundian army. I don't even know. But like the medieval French and the Agincourt English, both have starter armies in here, which is basically suggested army and like what you need to make an official army or whatever. I'm going to use those as kind of guidelines to build my armies up for our battles, and then I can expand on them if I need to. So that's why I've got this book out. I've got these books from Osprey, which I'm not finding them to be extremely helpful when it comes to research. I mean, it's got some good pictures of knights, which who doesn't know what a knight looked like, and it's got medieval European armies, and then the actual Battle of Agincourt actually is kind of cool, telling you like why they're fighting and where it is and how the armies are positioned and stuff like that. And it actually gives a couple of different battles, not just Agincourt, like the Siege of Harfleur and the Agincourt campaign, like where they traveled and where they, not just the actual battle itself. So this is actually a good resource for the whole 100 Years' War campaign. But there's so many more online, and there's so many more books out there that I don't own or have. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research on the battles, right? Okay. I know I haven't even gotten to the meat and potatoes yet. I've already started my collection of this 100 Years' War. I started it before I finished the Princeton project. I knew what was going to happen. So I've been wanting to order these models for months now. I ordered a box of Agincourt Knights. You get like 24 knights in here, but you only get 12 horses. So if I ever was to get 12 more horses, just the horses, I could have 24 knights. So I might actually think about doing that. But otherwise, I'll just get more of these boxes. And then I also have the French infantry. This is Agincourt French infantry, which has crossbowmen, knights, axemen, it has all kinds of things. And then I got the English army box, which it says Agincourt to Orleans, right? This one has a ton of archers. There's 36 models in here. I think 30 of them are archers, and like 6 of them are knights. So you don't get a whole lot of knights in this. Foot knights, that is. But then there is the Agincourt foot knight. And this is 36 figures, and this can both be either French or English, right? And these are all Perry models. I need to, even when I go to Warlord Games and buy these, they offer the Perry models. Now I'm going to also go to Perry and get some of their metal models, but I think I'm also going to go to Old Glory and get some metal. You get like 30 models for $36. These here are about the same price. They're plastic, you have to assemble them. That's the only difference. The Old Glory, they're metal, and so, and they'll be in different poses and maybe different weapon loadouts and stuff like that. So I'm going to have a mix, just like my American War of Independence. I'm going to have a mixture of Old Glory, Perry plastic, Perry metal, and some other models that I might look at. I don't see any Warlord models for this era. So, and that might be why they don't have any Hail Caesar army lists. They need to like get up on that, because I'm really excited to get that. All right, and lastly, I've already got a ton of, can't see them, they're off the camera, but I already have a ton of thatch roofed medieval barns and farms, houses and inns and stuff like that up there that I used to use for my D&D game, but I could easily use them for a skirmish game as well. But they would be great for a battle like Agincourt or Crecy or something like that, where there needs to be like a little town in the corner or something like that. I could build it up super easy. But I do have this foreground model. It's a high medieval hovel, and it's got actual fur for the thatched roof, which I thought was pretty cool. And I'm going to build this on camera like I did with all the Sarissa buildings. But this is a foreground, and it seemed to be pre-painted and everything. This is going to be This is going to be like an awesome building. I'm holding off on doing it until I started my Agincourt project. All right, so this was the announcement. My next project is the Agincourt project. You're going to see a lot of medievals. Oh, Fusion all-in-one primer. Okay, this primer is metallic silver. Okay, so I'm going to any angle, any surface, indoor, outdoor, doesn't matter, no sanding, paint and primer, no runs, no drips, no errors. I bet you I can figure out a way to do an error. But okay, what I'm planning on doing with this is building these knights, spraying them with this as the primer. The downside is, before I start painting on them, I'm going to have to dull coat them first. So I'm going to, because this is gloss. It doesn't say gloss. What does it say? It says primer. This says metallic silver, which I assume is going to be glossy, right? It's because this is kind of a shiny. So I'm going to spray it with a dull coat and then go in and paint. But like, this is an example. This guy right here, I'm going to spray this guy, and that's going to cover his helmet, his chainmail, his arms, his legs, his hips, his breastplate. If he's got any kind of jupon on, then I'll just have to paint on that. And these guys, I assume, are going to be super easy to paint. It's going to be prime, done. You know, like look at this guy. I'm going to prime him, and there's going to be just a very little bit. You just got to paint and be done. That's what I'm hoping. Okay, so this was the announcement for the 100 Years War project. Please come back. I'm going to be updating you weekly on my project on developing the models and paint schemes. And I've already got a couple of... Actually, I think I only got one flag in. I got Henry V's flag. But in these boxes here, they have all kinds of cool flags. Like a ton of cool flags, and I'm going to use them. Come back soon. I'm going to do a review on each of these box sets, and I'm also going to do a review on the foreground hovel. But I also picked up some of the winter tufts. I'm going to do and the lowland tufts from Army Painter. I'm going to do a comparison of these compared to my JTT tufts. And then I also got some battlefield grass, and I'm going to do a review on that. I know, weird, right? And then I've also picked up this DAP, which I use a lot of DAP. Okay, no, seriously, I use a lot of DAP, like plaster and glue and stuff. Well, not glue, but a lot of the plaster and filler and stuff like that I use. Where's it at? Yeah, like caulking stuff that I use for the bases is DAP. Oh yeah, and I used a lot of DAP on the Quatre Bras map. I made out the big map. I used the DAP on that. But either way, okay. So DAP's got this new glue. It's called Rapid Fuse, and it's supposed to be stronger than super glue, stronger than polyurethane, sets in 30 seconds. And then it says it cures in 30 minutes. Okay, so I can glue my army together like probably in no time flat. As you already know, I'm a pretty quick army builder and quick painter. And so I use a lot of techniques, and I do also paint in batches. I don't just paint one figure at a time. So this is going to allow me to put a bunch together. They'll be dry before I get a chance to go prime them. And so that'll be awesome. Yeah, and it says bond virtually everything. Plastic, wood, rubber, metal, ceramics, and more. Okay, so I'm going to do a review on this glue to see how strong it is. Not really test to see how strong it is, but see how fast it works. I'm going to build a model with it, and then we're going to prime the model. I'm going to paint the model, and you'll get a chance to see it from start to finish. One of my nights. that's going to be coming down the road. What else is going on? That's it. All right, so that's part of the Agincourt project, and I'll get you next time.